Also, Diana, the RBI hasn't excluded those companies, those entities from any specific industry from applying for a new banking license. We know the stated position of the RBI to start with, but now they've changed their stance in these final guidelines. So if you can take us through the companies that are the possible hopefuls for banking licenses going ahead.
Well, who would be really the companies interested? Well, we have been talking to a lot of NBFCs along with corporates, and a lot of them have shown interest. The likes of L&T Finance, M&M Finance, Shriram Transport Finance, Bajaj Finserv, Aditya Birla Nuvo, Future Capital, SREI Infra. These would all be companies that would be in the fray for getting a license, apart from corporates who could be starting all over and starting a new bank. At the same time, there would also be some amount of buzz as far as M&A activity is concerned, considering that we do have a fairly large amount of old private sector banks that aren't doing too well, at the same time available at fairly attractive valuations, and because of which some of the corporates that could be looking at getting a banking license could be looking at an acquisition as the route to getting into the banking space. Also the fact that you have a priority sector lending target along with opening up of 25% of branches in unbanked rural areas, that would be the primary reason for a lot of these corporates who would be looking at acquiring a license for getting into M&A activity, which would be the suitors, Lakshmi Vilas Bank, Dhanlakshmi Bank, South Indian Bank, Karnataka Bank. These are the banks that could be in fact possible suitors that possible aspirants could be looking at.
All right, to take us through what this will mean, let's go across to our guest tonight, Mohit Saraf, Senior Partner at Luthra & Luthra, and Tamal Bandyopadhyay, Deputy Managing Editor at Mint. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Let me come across to you first. Mohit, you just heard from Diana as well, talking about the likely implications this could have in the M&A space. Apart from an initial reaction, of course, to the guidelines themselves and whether or not you feel that they are more on the progressive side, what is the likely implication you see of these when it comes to the M&A front?
I think it's a very, very positive guideline, and particularly I think this has been well debated and a lot of notifications happen over the years, and I think that's a very positive thing. Really nothing comes out strikingly out which looks like a serious criticism to the guideline, and obviously M&A activity would be there and it will be encouraged, because really change of ownership, change of control has to some extent not been really permitted. So I think it should lead to a lot of growth and organic and inorganic growth, and it will probably be very, very good for the industry and for the country, because some of the private sector banks have done very well in the last few years, but they are limited, and the license, they'll be given more licenses, they'll probably get quicker license to open more branches in a year. So all these things I would say will go a long way in supporting the growth story.
Tamal, why don't you come in on this? As far as banking licenses go, this would be the first time in 10 years that we're going to see, since the time that Kotak Mahindra Bank got its license and Yes Bank got its license, that we are going to see fresh licenses getting issued. Do you think there'll be enough takers, enough applications by the 1st of July?
Well, for the record, 20 years back in 1993, when Reserve Bank of India first opened up the sector, there were, I think, 111 applicants. Now, since then, Indian corporate sector has expanded. You know how many number of listed companies over the last 20 years have gone up, so on and so forth. So definitely, every man and his dog wants to float a bank, because it gives you an access to cheap money. So definitely there will be too many takers, but how many will get, that's the question, because Reserve Bank of India has not said anything. In 2003, when Kotak Mahindra and Yes Bank, since you raised that, were given licenses, RBI was very particular in stating that they would, regulator would go for a couple of licenses, and after 4-5 years it would evaluate again. But this time it has given a deadline of 1st July for the applications to come in, but it has not given any indication how many licenses will be given. That's point number one. And you guys, I find very excited about the thing, that a change in the between the draft guidelines and the final guidelines, so that the ban on the entities which have exposure to real estates and stock markets, brokering business, has been lifted. That's prima facie. That is, that if you read between the lines, it categorically says those companies who have the income sources, very volatile, and asset price volatility and speculation in nature kind of thing, they will be kept away. So actually you are not saying so, but when it comes to look at the applications and saying yes to it, I think they would not. They are not in an advantage situation, those companies which have exposure to brokerage and this. So they should not get excited about it. Similarly, when Pranab Mukherjee 3 years back announced that new bank licenses would be given for expanding banking services, but he did say that only private sector. But Reserve Bank of India now guideline says public sector. Public sector also will be allowed. But the catch is the way this entire model of non-operative financial holding company is being structured, actually it will be very difficult for public sector to get into banking, because this structure is a private sector structure. So it's a very complex guideline. If you see this, yes, there are very simple facts like 25% of branches need to be in rural India, 13% capital adequacy ratio has to be maintained for first 3 years, 49% cap in foreign holding for the first few initially, so on and so forth. But actual eligibility, who will get the license, it's not very clear from these guidelines.
Absolutely, Tamal, very
because,
interesting points.
RBI said that you need a 10-year impeccable track record.
Absolutely. Tamal, I'm going to come back to you on that because there's some very interesting points you've just raised. Let me also introduce Ajit Mittal, who's joining us on the phone line from Indiabulls, and also Mr. Srinivasan from the Aditya Birla Group. Gentlemen, thanks for being with us. Let me just come across to you first, Ajit, and get a sense from you on some of these guidelines and whether or not you think they're viable. 10 years, a completely impeccable record. Is that really, is that going to be clad in steel? Is that really putting it out there and making sure that it's going to be really hard for some of these applicants, perhaps even yourself, to actually get through? Do you see it that way, or do you see it as something that can easily be achieved?